Let me ask you this last thing. Then we want to talk Sabres for a couple minutes here. We did it last week. We both went with Buffalo. It sounds to me through our conversation today that you've been kind of, and again, for everyone listening or watching, Joe is a Bills watcher. We've established that Joe is not necessarily a Bills fan. So he's going to give you what he truly thinks and not necessarily what he's feeling in his heart when it comes to this game. But anyway, that said, what you got to give me a prediction, man. What do you got?
I think the home field swings it for this game. I think it's going to be a much closer game, but I think Kansas City can edge it out. Now, caveat I'm going to throw here is the destiny factor when it comes to the Bills. Every team that gets the monkey off their back to finally to break through and win it, they have to extinguish a lot of old.
They go this route,
and Bills have already got it started. They vanquished New England. Okay, that's a huge ghost gone. Then you're looking at Kansas City this week, maybe Tennessee the week after. Like that's a lot. Like there's a lot of history. Like there's new history with Kansas City. There's old history with Tennessee. And then if you get to the Super Bowl and they're playing Tampa, well, then of course the final end boss would be Tom Brady, right? Like that's just the way that would work. If there's listen, I know Destiny's like kind of like talking about clutch, being a clutch player and stuff like that, where it's, it's mythical. It's not, it's nonsense. It's not beat around the bush. Like Destiny stuff is nonsense. But if you're going to turn it around, and if you're Buffalo, if you're going to win your first Super Bowl, beating everybody who's made your life miserable the last 25 years goes a long way to doing it. And if you can take care of Kansas City this week, then you're looking at Cincinnati or Tennessee the following week. If you're going to Tennessee, you can beat them. And then if you're going to the Super Bowl, like, hey, whoever, bring whoever at that point. It doesn't even matter. But if it ends up being like a Tampa Bay, then it's like, okay, this is the way it was meant to be. If you're going to do it, you got to beat everybody who's made you miserable along the way.
More. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that's my thought on it. I think if Buffalo gets past this game, I think they go to the Super Bowl.
Let me add one thing to your destiny theory here. It would also be cool, of course, Tampa, Tom Brady's the big thing, but Chris Berman for years and years and years picked the Bills and the 49ers to go to the Super Bowl every year. Playing the 49ers in the Super Bowl would be really, really cool as well. And I agree with you about one thing for sure, too. To me, and no disrespect to Tennessee or Cincinnati, to me, this is the AFC Championship game right here, the unofficial AFC Championship game as far as I'm concerned. Look, I'm going to be completely honest with you, Joe, and honest with everybody watching and listening. I picked, before the playoffs started, I picked the Kansas City Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl and face the Los Angeles Rams. Mm-hmm. And several times over the course of this podcast, last few months or so, I've said if my life depended on getting it right and I had to pick a team to go to the Super Bowl and my life and now my heart depended on it, I would pick the Kansas City Chiefs. But I am going to pick the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah,
my mind changed. It's not look. I would be lying to you if I said that it has zero to do with me being a Bills fan and there's not a little homer in me. I'd be a liar if I said otherwise.
I would call you a liar to your face.
But I'm going to say this. Last week changed me. I think the Bills showed me a lot. I think they're playing their best football. I do buy into that destiny theory. I do think they have a chip on their shoulder from last year. This year, beating them in week 5, giving them a lot of confidence. And I look at the Chiefs and I see a team that's been beatable all year. Even now when they're playing good football and they're winning a lot of games. They lost to the Bengals 2 weeks ago and they almost lost to the Chargers. They won in overtime. It was a wild game. I can't remember if it was in KC or LA. I think it was in LA. Doesn't matter. Point being is they were both wild games, shootouts. And I could see this game being that way. The Kansas City Chiefs, the difference between them now and last year is I think they're significantly more beatable. And for me, the big key is this. I think the Bills got to start out. They can't fall into no 17-3 hole, early in the second quarter. If that happens, I think they're done. But if the Bills can weather the storm, so to speak, early on, the later this game goes on, I think the Bills from player 1 to 53 are the better football team. I think their defense is better than Kansas City's. I think Kansas City is a better front 4, but I think the back end of their defense stinks. And I think the Bills back 7, even without Trey White, is capable of making some plays. They're not going to shut down Kansas City, but I absolutely can see them making a couple stops. To me, a stop in a game like this is almost as good as a turnover. So I look at it that way. And at the end of the day, I think this offense is firing on all cylinders now. I believe in Josh Allen. I truly do. And I just think when it's all said and done, I think the Bills are going to win this game if the Bills are last year, the Bills were winning at the end of the first quarter. Okay. But I never felt confident that they were going to win the game. I'm telling you with confidence right now, and you can replay this clip if I'm wrong next week. I hope I'm not. But if the Bills are winning at the end of the first quarter Sunday, they're winning this game.
Even if it's 3-0.
If it's 3-0. If it's 3-3.
Even if it's 3-0, you're saying they got it.
If they're winning by a field goal, I'm not saying it's in the bag, but I think the Bills are going to win this game if they're either up or even tied at the end of the first quarter. If they're not buried, they're going to win this game. And I think the Bills are going to win by 2 scores too. Somewhere between 9 to, 15? 9 or not 16. 9 to 16 points. That could be a 2-score game, right? Yep. Whatever. You get what I'm saying. The Bills are winning this game as long as they don't blow it in the first quarter.
Fascinating.